Hi guys, Josh, Joe, anyone else who is watching. Feels like I haven't seen your lovely faces in like forever. Um, I know none of us really did videos last week, so I hope you enjoyed mine and Courtney's and Brett's little contribution on Saturday to keep you going. Um, I did intend to do my video yesterday, but I just didn't get around to it. Stuart's gone back to having Wednesday afternoons off now, where he was having Tuesday afternoons off before. So now he's got Wednesday afternoons off. So I will more than likely be doing my video on a Thursday from now on, unless I do get the chance to do it on a Wednesday morning, which usually Lucy's having her sleep, so it's like kind of hard. But yeah, I will endeavour to do it on Wednesdays, but if not, it'll be on Thursdays like it is today. And today I'm going to talk about Jezebel, just because, I don't know, I always wondered about her story, because you hear so much, you know, the term Jezebel is like usually used to describe, you know, a promiscuous woman or like a prostitute or something like that. So I was always sort of curious about her story more than anything. And reading up on it, it's actually really interesting. It's nothing like I expected it to be. I thought, you know, she was going to be like a real sort of, you know, terrible, you know, person, for lack of a not being able to use a very offensive word, seeing as this is a PG channel. But yeah, so I thought I'd tell her story today. And like I said, it is really interesting. There's so many great women that, and I mean, I went to look it up and then I thought, oh, you know, could I have chosen myself a more complex and more like long story to talk about today? But I'd started, so I thought I might as well carry on with it. And basically, she was a Phoenician princess, and apparently her story, this part of the Bible, is the most detailed account of this sort of story in that period of time of the Kingdom of Israel. So like I said, I couldn't have chosen myself a nice easy one. I had to go and choose something really long and complicated. And to be honest, even after all my reading, I don't fully understand all of it, but I sort of get the gist, so hopefully I'll be okay. So yeah, so Jezebel was a Phoenician princess. She's the daughter of Ethbaal. Again, I apologise for my pronunciations. I do try. And Ethbaal was an absolute monarch of Israel, a king of Israel, who was an absolute monarch, which basically means he, you know, ruled the entire kingdom, you know, rather than having, you know, a bit like a dictator, I suppose, like not sort of a democracy with a government with, you know, a single ruler. And that's what an absolute monarch is, if you didn't know that already. So she's his daughter. And she's married to King Ahab of the northern kingdom of Israel, which is there's two separate, like there's that, and then there's the kingdom of Judah in the south, I believe. Get off the computer, Lucy. So yeah, so she's married to Ahab. She's daughter of Ethbaal. And her belief structure is that she believes in, like, I don't know, the old gods, if you like. You know, the gods of like agriculture and stuff like that, and her foremost god that she worships is Baal, who is the god of storms and rivers and water. So yeah, so she worships him, and she, obviously Israel is, you know, a god worshipping land, kingdom, whatever. So she worships this Baal, so they're like, hang on, our queen, you know, doesn't worship the same king as us, you know, this is all a bit weird. So she converts her husband, who obviously becomes king, to her sort of religion, and then that's when the chaos sort of ensues. The prophet Elijah brings all of his priests to Mount Carmel, and she brings all her priests, and then they basically have a big fight, and Elijah's priests basically kill hundreds of the Baal priests that Jezebel's brought along. Yeah, and likewise as well, her priests kill a lot of the Yanwee's priests. You know, everyone kills each other basically. There is a lot of bloodshed from what I've read. So yeah, so they've obviously got this mutual hatred because, you know, one set's got one belief and the other set's got another belief. And you know, I did a video a couple of weeks ago about war and about how as long as there's a God there'll be wars in his name, and it's again the same thing. Like, you know, you've got you know, fighting at the moment, you've got like basically two different belief structures fighting, you know, to see who's the best. And this probably isn't the sort of thing that I should be saying on a Christian channel, but someone tweeted a couple of weeks ago a quote from some, I don't know who the person is, I probably should have looked it up beforehand, but it basically said fighting over religion is like fighting over who's got the best imaginary friend, which, you know, obviously isn't a very good way to put it. But yeah, I can sort of see the sort of point in that because it is really pointless. But yeah, so anyway, so a lot of people get killed. And then eventually when Ahab dies, the son of Ahab and Jezebel becomes king. What is his name? Ahaziah. He becomes king, but he dies 2 years later. I can't remember how he dies now. Probably should have remembered that. And then their second son, Jerem. I can't read my own writing. I've got all these notes here and I just can't read it. Yeah, so he becomes king. And this is a quote from Kings chapter 2 verse 6. It says, Jehu got up and went into the house. Jehu, he's like he's basically fighting against them, I suppose. I don't really know who he is. So he says, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, I will anoint you king over the Lord's people Israel. You are to destroy the house of Ahab, your master, and I will avenge the blood of my servants and prophets and the blood of all the Lord's servants shed by Jezebel. The whole house of Ahab will perish. I will cut off from Ahab every last male in Israel, slave or free. I will make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha, son of Ahijah. As for Jezebel, the dogs will devour her on a plot of ground at Jezreel, and no one will bury her. So he basically takes a load of his troops to Jezreel to sort of confront, you know, Ahab's sort of family, I suppose, royal family, because obviously he believes that everyone should worship, you know, the Yanwee god, which is obviously our god. And he doesn't like the fact that they've brought this new religion with them, I suppose. So he takes all his troops over there and basically kills a lot of people again. And then Jezebel appears at the window and he orders the priests who are up there, he orders them to throw her down, which they do. They throw her down. And there was a great quote, really graphic, like, you know, there's something in the Bible for everyone. If you're into, you know, if you're into action, if you're into romance, if you're into whatever, there's something in the Bible for you. And I found that out over the last couple of weeks researching all this. So when Jezebel heard about it, she put on eye makeup and arranged her hair and looked out of a window. That's a point actually, that she, before she died, she made sure she was all made up and her hair was done, and, you know, she was definitely that sort of, you know, queen. And she basically says, have you come in peace? He looked out at the window and said, who is on my side? Who? Two or three eunuchs looked down at him. Throw her down, Jehu said. So they threw her down, and some of her blood splattered on the wall and the horses as they trampled her underfoot. So he basically runs over her with his carriage, you know, just to make sure she is actually dead. And then they all go off and have a nice meal and have something to eat, and then he comes back and thinks, oh, hang on, I've left the queen sort of dead in the courtyard, you know. But by the time they get back there, she's been eaten by the dogs, and it says that all that remains is like her hands and her feet, or her hands and her head, I think. So yeah, they basically say no one will say this is Jezebel. Yeah, it just says Jezebel's body will be like dung on the ground in the plot at Jezreel, so no one will be able to say this is Jezebel. So yeah, yeah, like I said, totally not what I expected that story to be. You know, I think there's maybe more to it as well, but that was like, it's more of, you know, that part was more about the conflict over the religions. And I've nearly whittled on for like 11 minutes now, so I'm going to go, and I hope you enjoyed that. Josh and Joe, I hope to see your videos soon this week. Yeah, I'll speak to you all later.